Hi, my name is Kayla Kender, and my thesis project is Food for Thought at the Southeast Museum of Photography. Food for Thought is a project that I did with food photography and also drinks. I decided to do a little bit of both. I kind of have been working on this idea for a while. I've done food photography before, but I really wanted to try to take it to the next level by kind of focusing on attention to detail. That was very important in this project for me. Yeah, I really just wanted to try to execute that in a way that I hadn't before. So the attention to detail that I really wanted in this work was kind of the main focal point in each image. So I know I did, I did a steak, I did a burger. So I kind of wanted the small details to be the main focus for each photo. So I think in the burger one I did, there was like a little ketchup drip. I wanted there to be a really sharp focus on that and not really the whole image. So I use a lot of strong depth of field just to kind of really take your eye straight to the subject. So before I shoot something, I kind of plan it all out, and then I kind of don't end up with that result, but that's kind of what I want to do. So that way I can kind of troubleshoot through each part. Once I started shooting, I kind of knew what I wanted, which is weird, but I don't know. I just tested until I kind of found out what worked the best for each photo, because I wanted it to all be very different, but also cohesive. So food photography is honestly really difficult, and I think that's why I chose it, because I like things that are challenging. And I feel like it's very similar to people, but also very different, because you really are posing the food. So you're really styling each shoot to where you want it to look appetizing, and you have very minimal time to do that, because after it's under those hard lights, it diminishes very quickly. So really, I think it took a lot of practice. I did a lot of research on it. I read a lot of books on it because I wanted to excel at what I was doing. I wanted it to look good. So when I say harsh lights, truthfully, I'm using softboxes and umbrellas, but it's still harsh on the food because it's a lot of light very close. Depending on the setup, I usually would use 2 lights, a softbox and umbrella, or 2 softboxes, or 2 umbrellas, depending on really what look I wanted it to have. There was a lot of troubleshooting because everything you light is different, and depending on what you have, if I was using glasses, bowls, silverware, whatever, they're reflective. Like, it's very difficult to deal with. It was very challenging, but I feel like I was able to make it work the way that I wanted to for this project. The easiest thing for me to photograph are drinks, because I've done drinks before and I did a whole series on them. So I actually can deal with the reflection in those drinks very easily. Like, that's easier for me to do. So that was probably one of the easiest things that I photographed for me. But when it came to the food, even the burger one, it's difficult because you're dealing with harsh shadows. You want the detail to be kind of throughout the whole image, even though it's just sharp in one part. I'd say one of the more difficult parts for me to photograph was salmon. I feel like the rest of the things that I chose to use in this project, I have eaten, and I've never eaten salmon. So I was like, okay, let me try and photograph this fish. And it was very difficult. I had to reshoot. I think I reshot that one 3 times, and it was just troubleshooting and getting feedback from my classmate and my professor. That really helped, especially on how to style it, because a lot of the times they soak the boards, and it was very difficult. Plus, also, I love to cook, but I've never cooked salmon, so I had to figure out how to do that. So I learned a lot. When it came to displaying my work, I didn't know firsthand, how do I want this to look? How do I want to display my work? But after hearing a little bit more about it, I feel like I was able to choose how I wanted it to be laid out. One thing that was very difficult was, since there was only me and my classmate, we did get a little bit more space. So obviously we were lucky to do so, but it was much more difficult to display them because we were able to use a larger amount of images in the show, mainly because there was only 2 of us. So we just got a little bit more room in the museum, which was very nice. We're very lucky to do that. A big challenge that I ran into, though, was most of the images I shot were vertical because I wanted them to be displayed a specific way. So there was one specifically that they just would not let me take out, which honestly, I didn't want to take it out. I'd loved it too, but it was a horizontal. So I was lucky enough to be able to display it to where all of it worked. So I had the first wall when you walked in, I had the first left wall, and the 12 kind of wrapped around that, and then I had the 13th kind of wrap around this excess wall. So it kind of walked you into the gallery. And it really just showed the work exactly how I wanted to. I feel like the color and the arrangement of them was exactly how I would do it. So I'm really glad that it worked that way. So when it comes to the process of food photography, I think that a lot of people really do make it look easier than it really is. I think that there's a lot of steps to making an image and also the food look the way that you want it to, while also looking appetizing as well. Most people, especially on social media, when they photograph food, it's really just them snapping a picture of their lunch. And since everyone has cell phones now, it makes it very easily accessible. So food photography is not, at least to me, I don't think that it's as easy as everyone makes it out to be. If you want something to look professional and appetizing and well presented, I think that there's a lot of more work that goes into it. Obviously there's the lighting, like I mentioned before. You have to set up an entire display of the food. You have to style the food, cook the food if you want to. That's what I did anyway. And you have to make it look appetizing. And I think that really is, to me, I think making it look appetizing is the hardest part, actually. So my plans after graduation are kind of, to me, I thought they weren't as set in stone as they could be, but I feel like after having this show, I was basically given a couple opportunities, which I thought was very awesome. So after the show, or during anyway, for the opening night, I did have a couple of visitors who saw my work and they did approach me, and I thought that was very exciting. It was funny because after I met with them for the first time, one of the things they told me were, I really don't like food photography, but when I saw your work, I was drawn to it and I kept going back to your work. And I thought that really stuck with me personally, because I feel like the goal of my work, that's what I wanted it to do. Even though it's food, I wanted it to speak to you. I want you to be drawn to it. And for these people to say that to me and to offer me a job due to just seeing my exhibition, that was very exciting for me. That's probably my favorite part of the entire thing. Just the unexpected, not expecting that to happen, and then where I'm at now, possibly getting this very, very great opportunity. I think that really is like the icing on top of the cake.